Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the penultimate round of the 2020 eTeam BRIT GT3 Challenge and the Cinetic BMW Series as we go from the land of the rising sun to the sands of the Middle East. Alex Goldschmidt and David Christie back once again for the penultimate round of the season. And David, it's feeling rather sombre, isn't it? Just one more round after this to go.
I cannot believe we've come so far, Alex, and here we are, penultimate rounds here at Dubai and just Montreal to go next time out. What a season it's been. What an incredible, incredible season.
And it's been such a great amount of tracks so far. Good evening to John Munro, who's not with us. He's actually driving in his car at the moment, despite having a foot injury. Is that the left or the right foot, John? Also, good evening to Edward Porter, watching on the Simply Race YouTube stream. We are broadcasting over so many different platforms. Good evening, Edward. Hope you're keeping well. So, the track itself, 5.39 kilometres, 3.349 miles. The full iteration of the Dubai Autodrome that was originally founded back in the early 2000s. Also, nearby, there is the Dubai Kartdrome that a very good friend of ours, Jake Sanson, has been able to go around at some point in some respect or another. Yeah, left foot. Okay. Well, at least it's not the throttle foot, John. That's all fine. But David, you know, we go to a very different test. You know, the temperatures are going to be increased by over twofold here in Dubai. So there's going to be a bit more mechanical sympathy required to keep yourself at the start of the field here in Dubai this coming week.
Yeah, this is going to be a battle of attrition, Alex, tonight for tyre temps, for car setups, for car maintenance in general. It's going to be a very, very interesting night tonight, and so many different permutations tonight for the championship.
Well, coming into it, Matt Richards has a comfortable lead ahead of Chris Butcher from IMB Vod Racing. These two have got 3 wins apiece coming into this round. Sandro Ballesteros managed to jump over Joey Vrolijk, quite literally, because Joey was not with us last time out at Fuji. Bradley Brock is in 5th. John Munro, who likes to employ, he is the helmet Marco of Marloe Watch Company Racing, as they've drafted in once again Joonas Raivio this week. But there's also another twist to that tail, which we'll get to in just a moment. Daniel Hyde from Kadan Casual Apex rounds out the top 7 ahead of Daniel Handover, who is also having a substitute this week. Bobby Trundley, Max Spooner rounding out the top 10. But then we go to the Cinetic BMW Series, and there is one driver, David, that I think both of us have been pretty impressed with, but he has been unassailable this journey so far. Martin Buchan comes into this on a whopping 110 points. Second in the standings, Louis Stewart, ahead of Christian Kelly by just 4 points, but don't count out Ben Hetherington, the Powerball FC from Clyde, and for Scotland as well. He's just 2 points off Christian Kelly. But in many respects, Martin Buchan has won every single race, all 6 out of 6, and he is one step away from claiming the Cinetic BMW Series title this very evening.
Yeah, let's be realistic, Alex. Barring any major malfunctions tonight for Martin, he already does safely have one hand on that trophy. And let's be honest, he's worked so hard to have that hand on that trophy. 110 points, 6 wins out of 6 races. It's been just an impressive championship for Martin, and let's hope tonight he can seal the deal.
Indeed, but before we get onto the action here at Dubai, let's have a look to what transpired 7 days ago as we head back to the summit of Mount Fuji.
We are getting ready to go green here at Fuji,
as we might be going racing very, very shortly. Looks like we've gone off to a full sprint. And now it is nearly 4 abreast heading into turn 1, and it looks like one of the that is Joonas Raivio up the inside of Chris Butcher. He drifts wide through Daiichi. Ross McGregor's off the track. Oh, Butcher loses the back end. Oh, he spins 180 degrees. He does a 360.
under a lot of pressure, as is Matt Richards right now. That gap is coming down again. It was 0.8 of a second. I think that's now down to about 0.6. On the back bumper of Matt Richards right now, and possibly making a move on Dunlop Corp. He thinks about it, but pulls back in. Oh my goodness me, this is starting to get tense. But Louis Stewart, what a cracking little drive. We said before, Martin Buchan is not faultless. He does make mistakes every now and again, and Louis Stewart is in the perfect position to mop up.
46 minutes on the clock. Raivio will go towards the inside line, and he's got the move. He's got up the inside of Matt Richards. Can he get past? Yes! That's a brilliant move by the 33, but now they've got the two BMWs up ahead, so Raivio will probably go one way. Richards will have to go to the same direction, and then they'll have to quickly get past Martin Buchan. But if I'm honest here, David, look at the gap between Richards and Butcher. It is coming down. Raivio in the tow. Richards still leading. Raivio back up the inside once again, heading into Daiichi. Oh, that was nearly a Mansell and Senna moment from 1991 there. And tiredness is a key factor because there are drivers. Oh, Max Spooner has a bit of a moment there. Oh, up the inside. That was through Zent corner, and Bradley Brockes goes, thank you very much, as Max Spooner makes it sideways coming out of the corner. Ross McGregor now in for his mandatory stop. Shall I go into the pits? Nah, I'm going to enjoy this battle, and this is what we like about it, where they're going to go toe-to-toe with Spooner, sends it up the inside of Brockes through Daiichi. Oh, he cuts across the nose of the McLaren.
Yeah, that was awesome stuff. Still holding on. There's something again. Bradley Brockes tries to take up the inside there, and Spooner on the other side.
So this, I mean, I must be honest here, David. Going through 300R, these two are absolutely giving no quarter. Oh, they tangle! Oh, they spin out! Dunlop curve, and that gives Matt Richards the opportunity he very much needed without having to pass the pair of them. Well, it was a case of 2 into 1 really don't go, and the biggest loser in that was Bradley Brockes. Entering the pit lane. Oh, look at the margin. He's coming into the pits. Goes towards the inside. Oh, that was nearly a sort of a Schumacher Barrichello-esque manoeuvre back a few years ago, and Hyde just goes straight on at Daiichi. Is the checkered flag being unfurled this time? I think he pretty much... This time around, it is Matt Richards from Zansho Simsport that takes the victory here at Fuji International Speedway. And the gap at the end of it all, David, was around about 0.6 of a second. Yeah, so that's brilliant. But it is a clean sweep yet again. Martin Buchan in the Cinetic BMW Series.
To allow us to be able to compete on a level playing field, we've had to use existing technology to create a set of hand controls that allow us to race on a level playing field. So if you imagine you're going to chicane at 150 miles an hour, our disabled drivers have to be able to go through the chicane at the same speed as the able-bodied driver. That means braking, steering, gear down, on the throttle, off the throttle, on the brake. Now, if we keep losing half a second or a few tenths of a second at every chicane, we might be the best driver on the track, but we can't be competitive. So that was the criteria that I gave the engineers, that if we can't do that, then we can't go racing. Al Locke he's the brains behind our team. He's our race engineer. I tell him what I want and how I want it. He says it's not possible, and I know it's possible because I believe in Al. The cost of the hand controls varies from about £5,000 to about £7,500. That's because we've managed to find a manufacturer in Slovenia that does all this specialist engineering. None of this would be possible without Al's British engineering.
The main thing that inspires me to keep going with Team BRIT is the quest for constant improvement. You know, we've developed a set of hand controls, and we're not a team that's going to rest on their laurels. We're constantly pushing for better and faster developments.
Welcome back to Dubai Autodrome for the penultimate round of the season. And a very inspirational message from both team manager and founder Dave Player, and also the head of engineering, our chief engineer at Team BRIT, Al Locke. And the slogan says it all: believe and achieve. And that's why Team BRIT want to venture to Le Mans in the near future. And obviously, some people that are in the Team BRIT fraternity at the moment, including Andy Tucker, have used the hand controls in order to further their racing career, but also to bring themselves on a level playing field where equality, they believe that it doesn't matter about the person, the individual, but it's dependent on the spirit of the individual and the thought process and how they can compete with able-bodied drivers on a level playing field. And that's what they're doing this year in Britcar, especially with Matty Street and Andy Tucker getting a podium back at Brands Hatch a few weeks ago. So all the very best congratulations to them. But David, apart from believe and achieve, that's what we've seen in this championship so far, as corny as the hashtag sounds. But we've seen multiple drivers actually improve all the way through the season. Ben Hetherington, I think, being the most notable of all of them in many respects, being the only joypad user throughout the entire field, and has still been able to get to pretty much the end of every single race so far.
Yeah, and it's certainly been a journey for him as well. One of the things is you were just mentioning there about the Team BRIT logo and the Team BRIT saying, and I think that a lot of the drivers, in fact all of the drivers, have done the spirit of eTeam BRIT and the spirit of the championship so incredibly proud so far. It's just been wonderful to watch. There's been drama, there's been some real intense battles. But when you go to the Discord and you go to the chat, it's all, very fair, and everyone's wanting everyone to do better and encourage everyone on, especially in voice chat as well during some of the previous races through the spring series that we had in the Settle Corsa Competition. The voice chat that we had was completely unbroadcastable, but was one of the most enjoyable, enthusiastic, and everybody egging on everybody else. I remember there was I think it was Andy Tucker actually that was having a real howler of a race, and he just wanted to give up, and everybody in voice chat was just saying, look, no, don't give up, keep in at it, finish the race and get some points for it. And I think that is everything that sums up the championship here at eTeam BRIT.
Very, very true. Well, let's have a look at the entries for tonight's race at Dubai Autodrome here in the Middle East. So first up, let's have a look at the GT3 entrance. Okay, so no Dan Handover but we're going to have instead Lewis McGlade, who joined us back at Adria and took a third place for Marloe Watch Company Racing. Daniel Hyde and Chris Butcher will be back in their respective chariots, as will Matt Richards, the current points leader. Sandro, Ballesteros and Bradley Brockies will look to move up the table in the 19 and the 105 McLarens. Then we also have Max Spooner in the sole Team Texaco entry. Bobby Trundley has recently partnered Andy Tucker in the Teesside 24 Hours quite recently, so I don't think he's going to be with us this evening. Joonas Raivio is partnered by Sandro this evening in the pair of Marloe Watch Company Racing Aston Martins. Obviously, we were meant to have Joey Vrolijk this evening, but we haven't seen him turn up. However, we go to the BMW M2s, the Cinetic BMW Series competitors. Again, an unfortunate no-show for Christian Kelly. Ben Hetherington in the Green Flag Racing number 4 will be joined by Louis Stewart in the number 13 Green Machine, and Martin Buchan, the championship leader with one hand on the title in the number 35, rounds out the grid. So, very much the case, David, that I think apart from earlier on this season, Fuji was that was the shortest amount of highlights that I've had to compile. I think most of them have been for like 8.5 minutes all the way through, like Lamar, Adria, where we had that toe-to-toe battle between Chris Butcher and also Matt Richards. But let's have a look ahead to tonight, because the three wild cards that could really spice things up are Lewis McGlade, Joonas Raivio and Sandro as well. These three, all in Aston Martins, could really put the cat amongst the pigeons and really change how the title dynamic goes into the final round at Montreal in just 7 days' time. Yeah, certainly, with the exception of our newest wild cards, I can certainly talk about Lewis McGlade even, and Joonas Raivio. I mean, let's talk about Lewis first, taking third place in his first time out in round 5. A fantastic super sub, and obviously now racing as a substitute for a different team tonight. But again, he's got that potential. And then what do we say about Joonas Raivio? I mean, I'm honestly blown away by just how impressive he was last week. He saw the battle between Matt Richards, Chris Butcher, and said, I'm not interested. I'm going to go and try and take this for myself. And when you compare that to the fact that we've also got Lewis in the grid as well, Matt Richards and Chris Butcher, this could potentially be a very costly night for one of those two drivers that are in the hunt for the championship with just 2 rounds to go. Maybe even both of them. You never know. Anything can happen in motorsport, and more than likely, it normally does, as we both know from experience, David. But I think in terms of getting the best start out of anybody over the last couple of rounds, both at Adria and at Fuji, I have to give credit to Max Spooner. He has literally launched that 63 Team Texaco Aston Martin off the line. And I think, what was it? After Butcher had his spin, he was P3 after starting 7th. And he was 7th at the end of lap 1 when we were in Adria, having started in P11. So Spooner has also improved, and he's getting closer and closer to being in the top half of the top 10. And I think his consistency over the last couple of rounds, I mean, the incident between him and Bradley Brockies was very, very quickly dealt with as Anthony Jordan returns as our race director this time around. But it was effectively dealt with. And I think in some respects it was a very fair decision, because you don't go launching it up the inside of somebody like that and then expect to make the move up the inside. I mean, there was no movement from Max on the steering wheel. I looked at it from multiple different angles, and it was one of those instances where both Bradley and Max have talked about it. And when the red bits is down, the visors are down, and virtually speaking, you're going at it hammer and tongs. They had a great battle, as those the people at home watched on the highlights, but they just laughed it off. And considering the fact that they are part of eTeam BRIT anyway, it was good to see the funny side of it, that they were just so like, well, it's happened, we'll just let bygones be bygones, and it's like water under the bridge. It is nice to see, but it's also nice to see the level of importance that the championship has for these drivers. Let's not forget that this is the level that we're at with sim racing now, that when you've got another driver in front of you virtually,
you want to take that place, and that's all it was between Max and Bradley. There is the fact that when you are fighting, and before the incident actually happened, there was several incidents where they were a little bit of contact, a little bit of rubbing, a little bit of bumping here and there, and that just all ratchets up the tension. That just all ratchets up that whole thing you've got going on in your head about, oh well, I'm not going to let them get away with that, and it just leads up to a moment like that where it could have went either way. And you said, you don't throw up the inside. Well, you do if you're me, and that's why I don't do sim racing anymore.
Well, I think that's why the words "quit whilst you're ahead" are very poignant roundabout now, Mr. Christie.
That might be why there was a Thrustmaster thrown against the wall.
Oh, I didn't hear a bang in the background. Never mind. Sorry, I digress. But we are literally a few moments away from the half-hour qualification session for the penultimate time this season to get underway. But there is a little bit of insider knowledge we want to bring to you now, as here is the hot lap here at the Dubai Autodrome to give you an insight into how tricky it can be around this circuit. Welcome on a hot lap of the Dubai Autodrome, 5.390 kilometres, 3.349 miles, and a fantastic circuit to host the penultimate round of the GT3 Challenge in Cinetic BMW Series. Heading to turn 1, you're going to brake from around 100 metres out from 5th gear at 230 kilometres an hour down to 120 in second. Now into the left flick at turn 2, 3rd gear 155, double right at 3 and 4, anywhere between 160 and 180 kilometres an hour in 4th gear depending on your bravery. Then it's into 5 and 6. Down from 4th at 190 down to 3rd at 140 kilometres an hour before it tightens for turn 7, where it'll be the first of several first gear corners. Power out of the corner from turn 7, head towards turn 8. We brake from around 170 kilometres an hour in 3rd gear down to 2nd. Between turns 8 and 9, which do start to tighten before you head onto the main back straightaway, will be anywhere between 120 to 140 kilometres an hour. You now pull 5th gear as you head down the back straightaway towards turn number 10. All the way up the rev range, pulling in the 7,500 RPM, up to 6th gear, 250, down the gearbox all the way down to 1st, 75 kilometres an hour on the apex of turn number 10, the slowest part on the circuit. Through turn 11 at 2nd gear, 115 kph, a little bit more overcorrection there as the car straddles for traction. Down into 1st gear once again for turn 12, this time it's 90 kilometres an hour on the apex. More overcorrection as the back end starts to spool up and break traction. And then all the way through into turn 13. A left kink here, 5th gear, full commitment, nearly 230 on the apex, all the way up to 1st gear again down in turn number 14, 90 kilometres an hour through on the apex as you try and wrestle with the back end, which is trying to break traction all the while through into turn 15 at 2nd gear at 120 kilometres an hour before you head down to the final corner, turn 16. Braking from 190 in 4th down to 105 in 2nd gear, and then you power out of the corner and you head towards the finish line, pulling 3rd and then pulling 4th gear in around about 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Welcome back, and we are here at Dubai for the penultimate qualifying session of the season. Martin Buchan's already been wishing for a track change, David. Well, considering the fact that he's mastered 6 already, I'm sure that this one will help him with regards to his rallying skills, especially if he goes off the circuit, but there'll be runoff rather than sand that he'll be able to drift through.
Yeah, he'll be fine. I'm sure it's all for show, but that is quite the train of cars coming out for qualifying just now. Straight out the gate comes Chris Butcher, and this is going to be a very, very hectic 30-minute qualifying session. It's one of the fastest tracks that we've been to all season, and yeah, this is going to be a very, very interesting qualifying session, purely because, Alex, space to keep your hot lap is going to be at an absolute premium tonight.
Very true. That's why Chris Butcher wanted to get the jump on everybody else. And I'm just going to keep an eye on our track map. Don't forget, live timing is now available at eTeamBRIT.liveracers.com. That will be the live timing all the way through the evening's proceedings. And at the moment, looks to be Joonas Raivio just behind Chris Butcher. So all on a outlap at the moment. Daniel Hyde rounding out the top 3. Martin Buchan wanted to show his inner rally driving skills. Well, you were showing plenty of that going through Panasonic Corner at Fuji, my friend. But you can just see the amount of camber and also undulation, elevation changes here as well, can't you, David?
Yeah, you certainly can. I'm watching, and we're watching actually Chris Butcher just on his outlap just now, and you can see just how stiff that suspension is under braking. You can see the back end of that car really jumping about as he tries to get the power down, and something is very, very wrong with that setup that he's got right now. When you compare him to Joonas Raivio just behind him there, Joonas looking very smooth and very calm, but Chris Butcher's car very, very twitchy, very, very stiff in the setup, which maybe that's the way he's set up, maybe that's the way he likes it, but I've certainly never seen his car react that way. And Joonas Raivio was the fastest in practice, and we'll have to see if that carries over into qualifying, Alex.
We'll also have to see how Matt Richards does as well. In the meantime, we have a total of 12 cars. So Joonas Raivio, Chris Butcher, Matt Richards, Ciro Vaya, Lewis McGlade, Max Spooner, Sandro Ballesteros, Bradley Brockies, Daniel Hyde, rounding out the 9 GT3 cars that will be racing here at Dubai. There is the points leader. And that McLaren sounding absolutely glorious coming through the far part of the circuit as Louis Stewart bit sideways. Matt Richards going absolutely flat out. I think he senses that opportunity that he does the business tonight. He literally just has to finish ahead of Chris Butcher to secure the title in Montreal in just a week's time. But we have been saying, David, as Joonas Raivio sets a purple sector 1 of 49.328, but then Ciro Vaya goes even quicker of 49.189. So the Marloe Watch Company Racing Aston Martins clearly showing some very smooth and consistent pace here at Dubai.
Yeah, they've got a lot of pace. They've got some fantastic super subs in their pocket. Ciro Vaya is a bit of a newbie for me tonight. I've certainly never seen him before, so going to be very interested and very keen to see what sort of pace he can do. But this is fascinating. Joonas Raivio right on the tail of Chris Butcher right now. Is Chris Butcher just about to go and put another lap in very, very shortly. And he's in a really good position right now because he's just on the tail of Chris Butcher, so it's enough to unsettle Chris and perhaps get a little bit of tow as well as they start their first laps.
Yep, and it looks like that Vaya is definitely showing true pace in that Aston Martin at the moment, quite a considerable amount more than as Chris Butcher goes fastest in sector number 3, but puts in. Oh, well, hang on a minute. Joonas Raivio, Ciro Vaya has just gone top. That's a great lap from the number 3 in the Aston Martin.
You called the pace. Chris Butcher was going very, very fast there. I still had my eyes on him on my screen, and he actually spun the car out on the exit of the corner. So again, just a little bit too stiff on the suspension, and that's putting pay to him being able to put the power down on the exit of the corner. But Zero Vire, 154, 134. That's the fastest time we've seen, even through free practice earlier on. So that is some pace to be keeping in the bag. And I'll be very interested to see if that gets beaten already. And we're only 5 minutes into qualifying.
Well, at the moment, the top 7 drivers, that does not include Matt Richards and Max Spooner, have set a lap time so far. And the how it's covered is that from Via, who's now got teammate Raivio behind, down to Daniel Hyde, is a whopping 3.169 seconds. And that is from 1st to 7th in qualification. Ben Hetherington out on a lap at the moment. So I'm just keeping an eye on our Cinetic BMW Series competitors at the moment, seeing what they come through with. Martin Buchan puts in a 56.6 for the first sector. Louis Stewart, half a second adrift, 57.182 in sector 1. And then Buchan's just done a sub 40 second sector 2, 39.946. So still, in many respects here, David, we've got over 24 minutes of this qualifying session remaining, as we've got a yellow in sector 3.
Yeah, that was
there's
Martin
still a lot.
Buchan at spun it rounds.
Oh, so
Yeah.
he wasn't doing it. You spin me right round, baby, right round. He was in that pink machine. He was. The
He
song,
certainly
but here comes Lewis McGlade standing in for Daniel Handover, and he goes across the line, 4th position for the 43, a 1 minute 55.618, an improvement in both sectors 1 and 2. But at the moment, Chris Butcher is 0.831 off of the pace from Sido Via, and Butcher back out on the circuit, now heading down the down towards the final corner. It looks like. Let's see if the BMW now, he gets a little, the back end starts to step out coming out of turn 16. He goes across the start finish line to start another hot lap. Best lap from him so far, a 1 minute 54.965, as Matt Richards has improved in both sectors 1 and 2, as the car nearly leaps all 4 wheels into the air, going over the ump just off of turn 16, as the McLaren now crosses the line, goes second. That looks like a 1 minute 54.416, so a good lap there from Matt Richards, and that puts him 0.282 off of Sido Via at the moment. Louis Stewart
Just
at the minute.
Sorry, Alex, just watching these BMWs going round. I've been watching Martin Buchan as well. The setup on the springs are so stiff. You see that car bouncing about from side to side whenever he's on the brakes, whenever he's going into the corner. And I'm watching Martin Buchan just now. The back end of that car is sliding out so much. So I think the BMWs, the Cinetic BMWs, are really going to have a difficult time tonight.
Well, I just saw that. Louis Stewart's one was nearly kangaroo hopping at the back axle from one side to the other. So you can just see how, John Munro, stop wishing that you were the Scottish equivalent of Helmut Marko. As again, Louis Stewart, that car is just bouncing like a good one. And John Munro wishing that he should retire as a driver and go into team management. I'm sorry, mate, your name's not Christian Horner. So we're not going to allow you the satisfaction of doing that. Ben Hetherington, in the meantime, is second in the Cinetic BMWs with a 2 minute 14.661. He's 2.3 seconds off of Louis Stewart, but Martin Buchan yet to set a lap time. Both looks like Max Spooner could very, very soon. Yep, he goes a 9th quickest out of 9, nearly 5 seconds off of the pace. But he did post on Facebook not that long ago about maybe seeing if he can get more points for Team Texaco, just keeping the honour of this Texaco brand alive in the last couple of rounds. And Aidan Millward, yes, they are very, very bouncy boys, especially the BMWs, the M2s. So it is going to be a bit of a tall order for them. A 1 minute 59.083 for Max Spooner, team boss at eTeam BRIT, but also the sole Team Texaco entrant. But again, just see coming. That was. I think that was going through into turn. There we go. Turn 9. And the amount of camber on that corner there, David. That's quite. That's going to allow someone to possibly throw it around the outside and get the momentum coming out of the corner to go onto the back straightaway, heading towards turn 10.
Yeah, it certainly makes it very, very possible, and momentum is going to be absolutely key around this track. You're going to have to keep as high a speed as you can going into the corners, just so you can carry it out and make sure that you're not impeded in any way. One thing that's caught my eye is something we were saying during free practice, Alex, and that was that this was going to be a four-way tussle, that we were going to look out for Ciro Vire, Matt Richards, Joonas Raivio and Chris Butcher. Well, guess who the top four are? Ciro Vire, Matt Richards, Joonas Raivio and Chris Butcher, separated by half a second.
Well, as they say, cry havoc and let's slip the dogs of war. And we've got two dogs of war in the form of Marloe Watch Company Racing's Joonas Raivio and Ciro Vire, with the latter taking provisional pole at the moment. We've got just over 19 minutes of this session remaining as Joonas Raivio goes quickest in Sector 1 by 57 thousandths of a second. As Lewis McGlade goes P5, Daniel Hyde 7P8. Max Spooner does improve up to a 158.168. Nevertheless, I mean, Raivio's just improved on Sector 2. And it is quite impressive, David, how quick these two drivers are.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, we saw Raivio for the first time last week at the last round, and round 6 was an absolute firecracker. I never saw Matt Richards taking that win. I honestly thought towards the end, around the halfway mark, Joonas Raivio was the man to do it, but it wasn't to be. And I think he's here to upset the party.
Sorry, hold the phone. It is Marloe Watch Company Racing 1-2 by just 8 thousandths of a second as Matt Richards goes top. By 55 thousandths. So 1 minute 54.079. And thank you, Aidan Millward. That Raivio and Vire are both VEC champions. That's why they are. And I did say, David, didn't I, that they are both very well known within the R Factor 2 community. So, and Aidan Millward He's taken a page out of your book when you mentioned about the fact it's so disgusting how fast John Munro is. Aidan Millward, he's made a different spin on this. He said they're so quick it's actually offensive.
Yeah, and it is for casual sim racers like myself. That's what we mean when we say that they're absolute aliens. And when I say it about John Munro, it's as well because when he gets in a real car, he's just blisteringly fast as well. So man of all talents, and I'm sure we'll see much more from Joonas Raivio and Ciro Vire. And it's excellent getting that sort of prestige, that sort of level of competition, Alex, because it encourages everyone else to up their game as well. And a little message from Race Control from Anthony Jordan: Max Spooner, his fastest lap of 158.126, has been DQ'd, and I'm presuming that's for track limits. Okay, well, I've just got to try and just reconnect for a second. I'll be back in just a moment, but I'll leave you all in the capable hands of David Christie, as we've got just 17 minutes to go on this session. Oh, steady now, capable hands. That's a tall order right there. But as he says, 17 minutes left to go in the qualifying session. We're currently watching Bradley Brocky's 6th place in the GT3 order just now. 156.449 is his best time at the moment. That's 2.3 seconds behind your leading group. And what a leading group we do have: Matt Richards, Ciro Vire, Joonas Raivio and Chris Butcher. Again, one thing that we've mentioned so many times through the build up to this is that mechanical sympathy is going to have to be a very tall order on this race tonight, because the punishment that the tyres are going to get, that the engines are going to get, and remember, R Factor 2 simulates a lot of the things that you would maybe not see on other simulators, so like engine temperatures, oil pressures, all that sort of stuff will be absolutely through the roof on a blistering hot track like this. You can even open the brake ducts to allow more cooling for the engine, and all of those things play a part through the longevity of the race. Remember, it's an hour race, as Lewis McGlade decides to hang it out Tokyo drift style there, and that is not going to improve his 5th place. He's got plenty of time, 15 minutes to regroup and try again. Chris Butcher in the IMB Vod Racing car there, fourth place, 154.712. So he's really in with a shout as well. So 5 cars we've got just a second apart. So Lewis McGlade has well and truly joined that party. He's up with Chris Butcher as well. But Chris, I don't think is going to be happy with that 4th place. I think he's got a little bit more in the tank, and we'll see how that one pans out as well. So I'm having a little look further down the field as well. I've got the luxury of having both the race stream that you guys see on the broadcast and my very own personal stream as well. I can look at all the cars on the track at the moment. Just have a look at the Cinetic BMW Championship at the moment. The main man on track at the moment is Louis Stewart. He's down in P11, but P2 in the championship so far, and Louis has a real good chance tonight, real big night for him, because of course he could leapfrog in fact, no, he's already done it, sorry. Louis Stewart is Ben Hetherington that could have a big night tonight down in 12th place. He could leapfrog Christian Kelly and take that 3rd place, but Louis Stewart has been it's difficult to say because he's been so quiet in the background. We see all the action and all hell kicking loose with the GT3s up front, and Louis Stewart has just time and time again just put in those laps and just chipped away through the championship. And look at where he is now, 2nd place in the championship after last week's performance, and a very, very delighted young man he should be. So currently 2nd place in the group right now, 2:10, and he is just 1.1 seconds behind of Martin Buchan. Martin Buchan is quite happily in the pits with Ben Hetherington 3rd place in class just now, and he is 3 seconds behind that as well. So Bradley Brockies we are watching just now in the eTeam BRIT car. So just watching him making his way around the track, and that car really resplendent. Alex, good to have you back.
Well, in the meantime, Chris Butcher's just jumped to provisional pole with a 1:53.745. John Munro, you realise that everything you say on the chat is taken against you. He said, shh, Aiden, don't tell them, they are rookies. Tell them what, John says Aiden. Well, you realise, John, that they have had to submit entry forms, so we did actually know this. Oh dear, Helmut Marko strikes again, wouldn't you say, Mr. Christie?
I certainly would. Alex, what do you think then? 12 minutes left to go in qualifying, and we've now got 4 cars within 4 tenths of a second. I mean, all 4 of them have upped their pace in the last 2 laps.
I'm going to go, I think it's going to be a Marloe Watch Company racing car on pole. I think it will be.
I like that.
I think if I'm going to be honest with you, it's difficult to class whether it's going to be Via or Raivio. But if it's either one or the two, I think that both, because look at it from this perspective. If one of them gets pole position, who does it instantly compromise? Richards and Butcher, because that means that's 1 point less that they can't grab a hand on. And the same will be the case with the fastest lap in the race.
There we go, Alex. Joonas Raivio, 2nd place, 1:53.925. It's happening.
Well, may wonders never cease. Well, no. Let them carry on. Let them carry on regardless. But yeah, Raivio up there in 2nd position. I mean, that's a great lap, and it just shows the amount of. I think you and I both know about the amount of jocularity that John Munro set about in the Discord chat, hasn't he? Especially when he said, well, I won't be there for Dubai. Obviously, plans have changed because I think he's due to, along with his left foot injuries, he's due to compete this weekend. So obviously, a lot of people that have been doing real racing have had to put the sim racing to one side, but it's good for them to be able to bring in these new challenges and change things around a little bit as Matt Richards now goes on to a hot lap. Currently 3rd place is the number 44 from Zansho Simsport, going through into the right, the left at turn 2, into the right at 3 and 4, pushing the limits of adhesion. You can just see how much that car is rocking to the left-hand side as he hurdles his way through into turn 5 and then into the right at 6 before getting on the anchors through at around 3rd gear, down into 1st through turn 7, now into the double left at 8 and 9, which tightens And then the camber gets you a really good run coming out of the corner. And he'll be coming to complete sector 1, crosses the line, improves, but it's a 49.099. Chris Butcher, David, has just put a 48.811 through sector 1 in the 65 BMW. So you know what he's hungry for? He's hungry for that pole position, and maybe might be able to get the likes of Raivio and Vaya in between him before qualifying concludes, as we've got just 10 minutes to go.
Oh, how much would he like to have that? To have Richards all the way down in 4th place. I think that would make him very, very happy. Remember, the gap just 20 points in between Matt Richards and Chris Butcher. And at most, we've seen maybe 1 or 2 points per race go between the two of them. To have 2 cars in between him and Richards would be a mega turn up, and I think that would end up dropping Richards away down to some. If it was to finish that way, for example, it would drop him away down to like 28 points or 30 points or something like that. So
well, I mean, the thing is at the moment it's a 20-point gap between the pair of them. So if Butcher wins it, gets the fastest lap, all right, and and then Matt Richards finishes in 4th position, that gives him 28 points. That brings the gap down to 11 for the finale at Montreal next week.
Dare we dream, Alex? Dare we dream?
Oh well, there is a silver lining behind every cloud, isn't there, Mr. Christie?
Yeah, there certainly is. It's just been a wonderful championship, and as we've seen the drivers coming down to the business end of the championship, and it's really been a highlight, and one of the things we've said time and time again, Alex, is how a lot of these drivers have improved in their consistency, but their pace as well. Now, we would go through the first half of the season and qualifying would be like maybe 6, 7, 8, 9 seconds across the whole field. We've got 9 cars in 4. In fact, we've got the entire field of GT3s within 4.3 seconds, and then we've got the synthetic BMWs within 4 seconds as well. So it really is a fantastic change and a brilliant development for all of these drivers.
Yeah, I think in many respects here also the inter-teammate battle that we have at the moment between Bradley Brockies and Sandro Ballesteros. The pair are half a second apart. Brockies 6th, Sandro 7th. And in terms of the standings, Brockies has a 10-point disadvantage coming into this round as he hustles his way through into turn 9 and takes as much runoff area as he can. So, yeah, I think the battle between the eTeam BRIT alumni is not going to be over as he now fires it through the final corner. Best effort from Brockies so far, a 1 minute 56.449. That coming out of the final corner didn't really help him. Down in sectors 1 and 3. But Martin Buchan has done a sub 2 minute 10. Here comes Sandro Ballesteros, not having improved, I think, in both sectors 1 and 2. The 13-year-old from Rochdale comes across the line, 1 minute 58.121 with 7 minutes on the clock remaining.
He needed to do that, did Martin Buchan, because I'll tell you what, Louis Stewart is getting closer and closer to that time now, just 9/10 of a second off the BMW M2 pole time of Martin Buchan. So Louis Stewart, what a lap there, 2:10.765, and he's got more in the tank. So this could be one of the most exciting BMW races we've had this season, because Louis Stewart could really take it to Martin Buchan tonight. We know that Martin takes about 4 or 5 laps to fully get going with that car, and Louis could strike very early.
I think you're very much right there. As it is anyone's gamer's idea as to what is going to happen. As Louis Stewart again is definitely grabbing the BMW M2 CS by the scruff of the neck coming through that corner, and there is one of the Aston Martins in the background there as we go on board with Louis Stewart. Full lock there, and you can just see how much bounce there is in the back axle of the BMWs. This is now going to come up the hill. And yeah, I mean, as you said, the stiffness on these cars in comparison with the GT3 car, where it would be fully adjustable coilovers, springs, shocks, dampers, the whole works, the BMW drivers are having to go with nigh on production-based vehicles, and they're battling with not just the circuit here, David, but also with the cars themselves.
Yeah, they certainly are, and I think this is going to be the least suited track to these cars, and it is what it is. You know, all of the drivers in the BMWs gets dealt the same card, so they have to just adjust to it and adapt to it. But one thing I want to point out as well is that a lot of these drivers are going to have to be very careful. I think we were on board with Bradley Brockes earlier on, or rather we were watching him, and we saw how wide he was going on the exit of some of the corners. Now, Anthony Jordan, our race director, race control tonight, very, very aware of that and has warned all of the drivers several times, and we've seen Max Spinner having a lap disallowed for track limits, so they're going to have to be very, very careful of that in the next 5 minutes.
Well, Louis Stewart gets a little bit closer to Martin Buchan. He puts in a 2-minute 10.409 as Chris Butcher again. Wow, look at the gap between him and Joonas Raivio. In the words of Will Buxton, oh, come on, that is ridiculous. 0.4 of a second on provisional pole. Cito Vira at the moment now going on to a hot lap, but Louis Stewart, I think if he gets an opportunity, if he goes quicker by about 0.9 in the next couple of laps on a flying lap, he'll outdo Martin Buchan, because I think Martin Buchan might be sensing that Louis Stewart might not get any closer. However, imagine if it was less than half a second for our penultimate Cinetic BMW Series pole position of the season here at Dubai, because Louis Stewart has really come alive in the tail end of the season.
Yeah, he's been fantastic in these last couple of races, and really hope that we're going to get a firecracker for the last 2 races for the BMWs, but I'm really, really looking forward to this GT3 battle. This is hotting up very nicely, because have a look at that. Matt Richards down in 4th place. He is going to be absolutely fizzing with that one. So I'm trying to work out, I would imagine pole position is going to have the right-hand side of the line, so they have the inside line into turn number 1. That means Cito Vira is going to be on that right-hand side as well. Matt Richards on that outside. That means that Lewis McGlade could try and stick it up the inside on that start if things are how they seem. We've seen Matt Richards really struggle with the rolling starts, and given that Max Spinner is in the mix as well, he could very well get himself up into a 5th or 6th position.
Yeah, by the end of turn 2, possibly. As Joonas Raivio will now go on to what will be a penultimate flying lap as Max Spooner improves. Doesn't improve in terms of position, but improves to 1 minute 57.813. Raivio now going on a what will be a penultimate hot lap, running down to turn 1. Just listen to that noise on that Aston Martin. Doesn't that sound glorious?
It sounds absolutely fantastic, Alex. I mean, just hearing the representations of these cars in game is it's just one of the reasons that I love sim racing so much. When you've got a good set of headphones, and maybe you've got a VR headset or whatever, and you just feel like you're driving these monsters. And monsters is really the appropriate word for them, because they are brutes, they are loutish, they've got insane amounts of power. The handling will snap you around if you're not careful and gentle with the car. It really is an experience, and I do enjoy R Factor 2 more and more as time goes on.
Well, the protagonists definitely are at each other's throats, because Matt Richards has gone second.
Yeah.
1 minute 53.623. The battle for pole position very much undecided, as now Chris Butcher goes in with a 48.714 on sector 1, faster than anybody. Is Joonas Raivio trying to go up the inside of Max Spooner in the latter stages of this qualifying session. It is going to come down to the wire, and Chris Butcher could really help his championship hopes in the next 60 or so seconds, depending on how he comes out through sector number 2 here at Dubai. Joonas Raivio resting a little bit with the back end of the car, coming through the top part of the circuit, as now he'll go through into the right at turn 15 as Spooner goes very, very wide. That Aston Martin of the 63 doesn't look to be completely settled, unfortunately, as now through the final corner. Joonas Raivio, there's a yellow in sector 1, comes across the line, goes P3, 1 minute 53.509. And I think Chris Butcher has decided that he's going to call it a day, but that depends on what Matt Richards does in the next few moments, because time is fast running out. But we need
Chris
to keep
Butcher
an eye
is
on...
going to go on to another lap. Sorry to jump in, Alex. I was just watching Chris Butcher as you were saying that. He was weaving about, warming his tyres up there, just goes across the line with 10 seconds left to go. So this might be a last gasp effort here from Chris Butcher.
Right, so into turn 1 goes the BMW. Now through into the left kink at 2. We'll keep on board at the moment. Checker flag is out. Chris Butcher now going through turn 3 and into turn 4 at nearly 200 kilometres an hour. 215 on the apex through turn 4 into 5. Now down into 6. And you can just hear that he's absolutely wringing the neck of that fantastic turbocharged V8 powered Leviathan from Munich up into turn 7. But Butcher absolutely on it. Sidovaya coming through, I think, for what will be the final time. Butcher's up by 80 thousandths of a second in sector 1. He's gone even quicker this time around. Oh my goodness me. Butcher looking to put on a show in the final steps of qualification. Down into turn 10. You can see the back end bouncing around a little bit on the BMW. And now we'll come through into turn 11. And then the short blast down to turn 12.
Just a quick message from race control, Alex. Joonas Raivio has had his fastest lap. It's qualified 1:53.915. Again, that's going to be for track limits. Okay.
Good Hawkeye calls there from Anthony Jordan, our race director. I don't think this will be enough to take pole position, as he's just done a 35.722. Over 6 tenths down on Richards in sector 2, but Butcher is going to try and wrestle as much as he can to try and get this BMW around the line. He's going to pull it in the pits, but with a checkered flag out, that means that Chris Butcher takes pole position here at Dubai by just 0.114 of a second, and the guy alongside him on the front row will be the championship leader. We're in for another dogfight here. We are clearly in for another dogfight. We saw it at Adria. We saw Fuji. It went to the way of Richards. But now, here in Dubai, this is unpredictability at its finest, David.
Oh my goodness me. Didn't see that one coming at all. Matt Richards pulled that completely out the bag. I thought he was for sure going to be down in 4th place. Great 2nd place for him. He's on the outside going into turn 1 there. And then we have to say Lewis Stewart. Lewis Stewart has absolutely captured my attention tonight. Well and truly taking it to Martin Buchan. 8 tenths of a second off of pole position. And yeah, this could be a very, very interesting night indeed.
So Martin Buchan takes pole position for the penultimate time in the Cinetic BMW Series, but Chris Butcher takes the overall pole position by 0.114 of a second. Joonas Raivio and Sidovaya ran out the top 4. Lewis McGlade and Daniel Hyde will be on row 3 ahead of Bradley Brockies, Sandro Ballesteros and Max Spooner from Team Texaco running out in the 9 strong. But yeah, like you say, Lewis Stewart got to within a second of Martin Buchan that time around here at Dubai. And I think really, okay, we might not have the biggest grid, but we've definitely got one that's fully charged with excitement, wouldn't you agree?
Yes, and yes again is what I would say to all of that. It is just so exciting, Alex. Everywhere you look, I mean, we're on our warm-up just now, but who knows what's going to happen tonight? We've got 4 of some of the fastest sim racers in R Factor 2 taking part in this championship, and 2 of them are involved in the title fight, and 2 of them are just here for the giggles. I just don't know what to say. Joonas Raivio has definitely got the pace to take the win. So does Sidovaya. So does Matt Richards. So does Chris Butcher. Lewis McGlade as well. Don't dismiss him. He could easily get either a race win or a podium tonight.
Very, very, very true indeed, my friend. And as you can see, well, effectively, Chris Butcher brings himself a further point closer with that pole position. So a further point goes to his tally. in terms of the championship standings, bringing it down to 19 points. So Matt Richards has an absolute mountain to climb, but he's done himself a big favour by qualifying on the outside of road number 1. Joonas, Raivio and Sandro, the 2 Marloe Watch Company Racing Aston Martins, and I'm so glad I can say that properly now without getting it mixed around as I did earlier on the season. How funny that my memory's a bit like an elephant at the moment. I keep on remembering stuff that I shouldn't really remember because I'll make myself look like an idiot. But hey ho, that's what us commentators do. If you can't have a laugh at yourself, life ain't worth living, right, David?
Yes, that is exactly. I just laugh at myself for the sake of it anyway, mate.
I couldn't. That couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, I think what's really astounded me is the fact that, you know, we went to Fuji, we had 11 cars, we got 12 here at Dubai. Okay, season 2 is in the works. There are bigger and better things, I think, apparently coming, but I'm sure that I will be told in due course. So don't forget to follow us on eTeam BRIT on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Jet lag, Edward. I don't look if jet lag. I would have had that last year, having come back from Thailand. But thank goodness for compression socks. It's probably the time difference from where I was last week. But I think at the end of the day, there is a buzz, there is an excitement about what Season 2 is going to bring. We will update you in due course what will be on the cards. It's going to be even bigger and better than the first season. We really do thank everyone that's taken part so far. Everyone that's been watching the streams, we can't thank you all enough for supporting the eTeam BRIT GT3 Challenge in the Cinetic BMW Series. I mean, David, 7 different tracks. Next week we go to Montreal. What's been your highlights so far of the season?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that, and I'm still not prepared for it.
Have you written down your notes yet?
No, I've not. I'm going to very quickly go and look. No, I'm joking. There's been so many highlights. For me, I've got to be honest, right? One of my little heroes on this has been Freddie Hunt. I really miss him through the tail end of the championships. The first 4 rounds have been just brilliant fun, seeing him taking part, and again seeing the progression that he was making throughout the championship. We've lost obviously quite a few runners and riders as the season goes on and as other priorities come up and real life racing gets back going again, but while it's been on, it's just been absolutely fantastic. I mean, Le Mans was amazing, and I think if I'm remembering rightly, I think that was the first round where Joey Vrolijk had his pit stop issues, his first of many pit stop issues through the championship. Yeah. But yeah, there's too many to count, and I think the best is yet to come right now in round 7 and 8.
Yeah, I think the highlight was obviously Le Mans, the double points round, where we went from daytime to nighttime. That for me was the standout, really, to have the opportunity for our competitors to drive at the full 13.626 kilometre circuit was just a joy to behold. And as you can see, we got some replays coming back from Freddie. No, there we go, Mr. Hunt himself.
Look at that! How can you drift the car and still get the apex? I mean, that is just quality car control. Yeah,
definitely the case. I think we're not too far away from going racing, but the temperatures here in Dubai, virtually speaking, 34 degrees is the air temperature. So of course the track temperature is going to be in excess of 40. Now, one of the things I wanted to bring up here was the pit stops last time out at Fuji, where Joonas Raivio literally went into the pit stop on the button. He couldn't have timed that any more perfect than he did. We had Max Spooner doing the same. We had Joey Vrolijk, Max Spooner doing that at Donington Park on the very first round with 15 on the clock still to go. Warm-up's just been completed, so we will be getting racing underway very, very shortly. But then Joonas Raivio doing the most obscenely close pit stop last time out at Fuji, didn't he?
Do you have any nails left? Because I chewed all mine off with the drama that happened there. And the thing is, as well, is the reason that we were so worked up about it is because it was just such a scrap that was going on last week. It was incredible stuff. And I think we're away to go and start our green flag lap very, very shortly. This is going to be an awesome race.
So 60 minutes on the clock beckon for our competitors here at the Dubai Autodrome. I cannot believe that this is happening. Right, we're about to get things underway. You can hear those engines ready to roar into life at a moment's notice here. So let's have a look at the grid for the penultimate round, the 7th round of the 2020 eTeam BRIT GT Challenge here at Dubai. Chris Butcher and Matt Richards, our 2 championship protagonists, will be on the front row. And behind them will be Joonas, Raivio and Sandro, both from the super subs for the Marloe Watch Company Racing, Marloe Watch Company Racing team. Lewis McGlade will be running in the Zansho Simsport 2, Aston Martin, and alongside him will be Kadan Casual Apex's Daniel Hyde, with Sandro Ballesteros behind teammate Bradley Brockies and Max Spooner rounding out the, well, looks like there's been an issue for Daniel Hyde. He's not showing in his position at the moment.
Yeah, Daniel Hyde has had a technical failure and has had to abandon the race.
Well, that's a shame, but then we'll have Martin Buck and Louis Stewart and Ben Etherington rounding out the grid here at Dubai. A real shame for Daniel Hyde. He was coming into this and he would have actually closed up to both Sandro Ballesteros and Bradley Brockies in the hunt for the top 5 here. But we are very, very shortly getting underway here at Dubai. Oh, don't forget, DAF Driver of the Day will be, our votes will start from the half-hour mark. Our pit stop window opens with 20 minutes completed and then closes with 20 minutes to go. All drivers to make a mandatory pit stop of 30 seconds. They must all change all 4 tyres. No excuses, no exceptions. And also, the pit stop window will close with 20 minutes on the clock remaining. Oh, the goosebumps,
yeah.
David. They're back again. They're back again.
Oh,
7
yeah.
days ago, we had them, and now just look at how tentative all these drivers are, because it is going to be a full-on sprint down to turn 1 here at Dubai. And let's not forget the start that Raivio got to get up the inside to take the lead on lap 1 really, really saw a sign of things to come. And here at Dubai, anything can happen.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The other thing I just very quickly wanted to say, Alex, right? See, when you're doing sim racing, if you're doing a standing start on the grids, that's one thing. See, actually taking part in this green flag lap, it just amplifies everything up, especially when you're doing an endurance race, because now suddenly you're on the pit limiter and the car is doing maybe, say, 50 miles an hour and you're left with nothing but your own thoughts, and you're thinking, have I put enough fuel in the car? Have I got the right tyres? What am I going to do? How am I going to do the start? It is just amazing, amazing fun as a driver taking part in this, and it really, really adds and ratchets up the tension.
The tension definitely going through the roof here at the Dubai Autodrome. The drivers, and I must be completely honest, this is the closest tightly knit formation lap I think I've ever seen. They are really looking forward to putting on a show. They are about to come through turn 14, up through the camber of the hill, and then into the double right at 15 and then 16. So it'll be down to Butcher and Richards to control the pace. Let's see who gets the jump on everybody, but not make it a jump start here as they head their way down to turn 16. 60 minutes on the clock. Lights are about to go out here in Dubai. The sands of the Middle East awaiting the roar of GT3 and BMW machinery, as now that was one hell of a start, if you can call it that, because they come out the final corner and Butcher was left standing.
Yep, and that's just not paying attention. The green flag was given, and I'm obviously able to see that. And what a start up the inside from Sandro around the outside of Matt Richards. And I tell you what, that has left Chris Butcher absolutely furious back in 4th place there.
But look at Bradley Brockies, he's absolutely launched it. He's taken the textbook out of Max Spooner, who's up into, who's past Sandro Ballesteros, but Bradley Brockies now quickly having to fend off as, is that me, or is Louis Stewart leading the Cinetic BMW series? He is
Your
ahead
eyes
of Ben.
do not deceive you, Alex. Louis Stewart is in the lead of the Cinetic BMWs, and Ben Hetherington is in 2nd place. All my prayers have been answered at once tonight, and we have got one heck of a race.
And now they go down the back straight. They're going down at full throttle here as fire towards the inside of Richards. Oh, that was very, very close. But Via was looking very threatening around the outside of turn 2, or the inside of turn 2. As now Butcher closes up, he's quickly disposed of Bradley Brockies. Joonas Raivio down in 5th position ahead of Lewis McLeod. Max Spooner up to 7th. Sandro Ballesteros up into 8th place. Louis Stewart leading the Cinetic BMWs as now Martin Buchan now has got past Ben Hetherington and will start to try and catch Louis Stewart. But Richards, I think, yeah, you were absolutely spot on, but you can just tell how hungry Chris Butcher is to get that lead back, because he's, you know, that was a good few car lengths they dropped on the start as they were about to complete lap number 1 here at Dubai. Richards leading the way, but Via coming under close quarter fire. I think there was a warning shot across the bow of that Aston Martin, courtesy of Chris Butcher, as they built their way down into turn 1. Fastest lap of the race looks to be Chris Butcher there, still in P3 at the minute. They go through into turn 1 at 1 minute 56.462 from Butcher, and he's using the slipstream as he's going to try and go up the inside of Via through into turn. The BMW's absolutely cornering on rails. My goodness, that is sheer commitment through turns 3 and 4 from Chris Butcher there from IMB Vod Racing. Oh my goodness me.
Yeah, he needs to calm that down a little bit. First couple of laps, so he does not want to blister those tyres at all, or push that car any harder than he can. And look at that now, Zero Fire right on the tail of Matt Richards as well. So this is going to and fro as Chris Butcher running very, very wide. And this is what Chris needs to do, just back off. Let Zero put Matt under all the pressure. We've seen Matt crumble under pressure before, with or without anyone behind him. So, you know, Chris just needs to take it easy and let the race come to him. And look at that, Zero Fire now looking one way then the other, does the cutback. But this is an awesome, awesome start to the race. And we're just a couple of minutes in.
Yeah, so with 56 minutes and 35 seconds still on the clock. I'm just looking at the lap times from Joonas Raivio, and he's a bit far off the pace, if I'm honest with you. But with the higher temperatures here, I think Raivio might be playing the better strategy rather than going all out, as Silvia goes a bit wide coming into turn number 14 there. The back end of the Aston Martin looks like it's a bit tail happy going through 15 as a defence from Butcher, but I think Joonas Raivio could be the dark horse here. And the reason why I say that here, David, is that he is not pushing the envelope as hard as the top 3 are at the moment.
100%, that's exactly what he's doing. He's 2.6 seconds behind, but he doesn't need to be there. He's in this, he knows he's got the pace. He was in 3rd place on qualifying alone. So all he has to do is just manage his tyres. Maybe he's on a different fuel strategy from the other drivers as well. And it'll be interesting to see how that pans out, because look at how impatient Chris Butcher is getting. And that's the 2nd lap in a row now. He's been really, really tight through that double right-hander.
Yeah, Matt Richards is the first driver to go sub 1 minute 56, 1:55.783, as it gets ever so close yet again between Butcher and Via for 2nd position. And this time, Via looks to have left the door open a little bit, but Butcher closes in the meantime. They'll now come through the corner. Butcher really hustling that BMW yet again. I think it's not just the frustration side of things. I think it's just the fact that he's absolutely gutted of what happened on the start, because he was caught well and truly napping by the rest of the opposition.
Yeah, that's absolutely spot on, and a wonderful, wonderful move by Butcher there, side by side, battling it out there with Zero Fire, and you saw that one coming a mile off. He got a wonderful drag up the straight there and tried to get the cutback, went round the outside and cut to the inside. This is brilliant now from Chris Butcher, really hustling Zero Fire again, side by side, and I think that means that Fire is going to have the inside line for this next corner.
Yeah, very much the case. But look at Butcher. He's going to thread the eye of the needle. Is he going to try and go up the inside of Via? Oh, they nearly touch going through turn 14. But Butcher absolutely wrestling that BMW by the scruff of the neck. And you can just see the gap that now Richards has pulled out. It's over 0.8 of a second. Look at Raivio. He's not too far behind, but he is the slowest out of the course at 1 minute 56.137. So by keeping that extra 10th or so in his pocket here, David, he's allowing it to be at his advantage. But look at the entire 8-strong field. Obviously, Daniel Hyde having a technical failure. So it's a real shame because that would have made 9 cars this evening, and seeing another Corvette rumble around the circuit here at Dubai. 12.6 seconds as Butcher going through the double rights at 3 and 4, nearly loses the back end on the exit, and again he's closing up to Sidor Vaya, and Vaya is going on very defensive. The pair nearly clashed there. Oh my goodness me. Chris Butcher wants to get past and get past quickly, and we are just over 6.5 minutes completed here, as again he's still trying to get past, and he's now flashing the lights of fire as if to say, come on, man. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Get out of the way.
Yeah. This is building up very, very nicely. I tell you what, Vire is going to do that one too many times. He goes very wide on that left-hander, just snaps back across the face of Chris Butcher, and one of these laps Chris Butcher is going to be too far up the inside for Vire to get away doing that. However, I want to draw your attention, Alex, to the fact that as soon as the attention goes from Butcher behind him up to Richards in front, that gap just instantly comes down. Vire has got some very, very scary pace right now.
Now, if you saw on the replay, Max Munro jumped on by Louis Stewart of all people. That's brilliant. That's the first time I think he just literally went around the outside of the left of the Team Texaco car, and Louis Stewart just nailed it. And I'm not too sure. Max Spooner, I think, was one of the other drivers that ended up having to sort of like react quickly to say, "Oh, I've missed the green light."
Alex, I think we need to take a second to realise something. Louis Stewart is still in the lead of the Cinetic BMWs.
Yes, very much the case. As another replay. He literally was ahead of. Hang on a second. He was ahead of.
Chris Butcher is gone. Chris Butcher from third place has spun out and has hit the wall.
Oh. Okay, right. I think we will need to see a replay on that. That has potential huge championship ramifications right about now, because that has put him in 6th position, 9.9 seconds down.
All I'm going to say, Alex, is it's not over yet. Zero Fire is putting insane pressure on Matt Richards, and Matt Richards could very well face the same fate as they're side by side now.
Again. Butcher went off again. Okay, right, let's have a look. Into turn 1. Okay, Butcher turns in, and he loses the back end coming out. Oh, he's put the power down going through the exit of turn 1. So no contact between him and Sidor Vaya. Oh, well. And wow. Vaya's got the lead. He's got the lead from Richards.
They are literally side by side, Alex, right now. This is one hell of a race we've got unfolding with about another 50 minutes. We've got a contact warning for Chris Butcher, and that'll be against Zero Fire for those earlier laps. But a wonderful move from Zero Fire, and I wonder if, and this is a big if saner heads are going to prevail with Matt Richards. We see a little bit of a flick from the McLaren there. Can he settle down in that second place? That's all he needs to do. He doesn't need to chase the win, but racing drivers are going to keep pushing, and I think he's going to try and fight back for that race lead. Yeah,
he's closing on him at a rate of knots as they now head to turn 1. Chris Butcher now trying to get past Bradley Brockes, but has to slot in. I mean, obviously that BMW would have done a lot of damage as a result of that turn 1 spin out. But I think it's now about keeping himself calm in terms of Chris Butcher, because he's, the car's looking a bit more ragged now. It's had that damage, and that's what he's got to do. He's got to do the damage limitation side of things. And Sidor Vaya now extends his lead to over half a second over Matt Richards. So Matt Richards, I think, probably is feeling a bit more less complacent or less pressurised, let's say, is now Louis Stewart coming under fire from Martin Buchan for the lead of the Cinetic BMWs. They're now coming through turn number 14. Up the crest of the hill they go, as Chris Butcher going very sideways, coming out of the corner, trying to overtake Bradley Brockes as they head through down towards what looks to be turn 10. As now the leaders of the Cinetic BMW series coming through the 16th and final corner, as now Buchan looks to get the run on Stewart heading to turn 1.
Oh my goodness me, where do we even look? Butcher is just pushing way too hard. Butcher needs to get rid of this red mist that is on him just now, because he's behind Bradley Brockies, and the tail end of that thing is just going all over the place. Quite possibly has damage, but we also said before during qualifying that car looked mighty wobbly and very, very loose, to say the least. So, you know, his only chance is to just calm down, calmly pass Bradley Brockies, and then start putting the power down, because Matt Richards is not out the woods yet. Ciro Vire and him are having one heck of a battle, but for me, going to the Cinetic BMWs, Stewart's already won it for me. Louis Stewart, what a little hero he is, staying in the lead, and Buchan just can't get past him. Oh, and Matt Richards up the inside for the leads. Oh my goodness me, so Matt Richards back into the lead of the race there, and this is the joy of having lots of different cameras that we can look at. We can kind of try and keep an eye on everything going on right now, Alex.
Yeah, very much the case, but Ciro Vire not done yet. 47 minutes, 40 seconds on the clock. Just over 17 and a half minutes to go until, well, 7.5 minutes to go until the pit stop window opens, as Martin Buchan trying to go around the outside of Louis Stewart. Oh, the pair clash! Oh my goodness, Buchan tries to go around the outside, and Louis Stewart tried to go to cut off the door, and the pair, that was a bit of an inadvertent
yeah, that was
there.
Completely accidental from Louis Stewart there. You saw his oversteer and the correction there. The car just wobbled a bit under power. And you know what? I think Martin Buchan is actually loving having somebody to scrap with right now, because look at how well Louis Stewart is doing.
Makes the changes now. He goes for the lead as the pair go side by side, but Louis Stewart back up the inside to take back the lead. Oh, this is brilliant. Toing and throwing like a yo-yo up and down on a string as they come through around the final corner. Don't forget, when we hit half an hour still on the clock remaining, you can actually vote for your DAF driver of the day, and it is a public vote.
Alex, I tell you, this race for the lead is just nail-biting. Matt Richards being hounded right now by Ciro Vire, and Joonas Raivio, he's starting to close that gap now as well. It was 2.5 seconds, it's now down to just 1.9.
Oh my goodness me. I think Matt Richards knows that something's coming, and it's a pair of Marloe Watch Company Racing Aston Martin, because there's one heavily on the back bumper going through turn 1. Oh my goodness, Vire was very, very close there, but Richards nearly got off the back end. Like Butcher coming out of turn number 1 as they hustle it through turns 3 and 4, and that is the 4th gear, over 200 kilometres an hour as they're getting close to at least 140. Yellow in sector 1.
Oh no, that's Chris Butcher. Chris Butcher is retired from the race, and that means that Matt Richards, he can't be caught.
Oh, Matt Richards is effectively, wherever he finishes tonight, he is the champion.
Wow.
What a drop on the penultimate race of the season. I'm just absolutely gobsmacked there. Seriously gobsmacked.
Not like this. I'm absolutely gutted for Chris Butcher, but I wonder if it's just a case of he tried and it just wasn't to be. Oh man, yeah. Well, at least we've got this brilliant little BMW fight going on just now, as Martin Buchan does take the lead of the Cinetics, and I'm absolutely convinced that he is just enjoying having a good tussle with Louis Stewart right now, because the two of them are just swapping places left, right and centre, and who blames them for wanting to have a little bit of fun?
Yeah, very much the case, as now these two still at each other's door, battling the whole way through. And in many respects, I think this one could go on for quite a considerable amount of time.
There is one variable that I've just realised about just now that could change everything. Now, that is that we're considering that Matt Richards finishes this race. If he doesn't finish this race for whatever reason, then the gap is still, what's that, 19 points?
Yeah.
So until this race is over, nothing is decided.
Yep, and there's still 43, nearly 44 minutes of it to go. So just 3 minutes and 46 seconds until the pit stop window opens. And the drivers will have to make a mandatory pit stop of that. And then they've got to make 30-second mandatory pit stop, as Matt Richards now starting to filter his way through. But look who's on the tail of the car. Sino Vaya not too far behind.
Alex, Race Control have just said that Sino Vaya has to drop 1 place for an illegal overtake on Matt Richards.
Oh, so he's got to drop behind Joonas Raivio as a result of that.
Wow.
Well,
that's left us a bit stunned, and he's not seen the message yet because he's still hounding Matt Richards at the moment. However, I wonder if there's maybe a little bit of communication going on and saying, Joonas, get yourself up here so I can give you the place whilst losing the least amount of time.
Yeah, because I think what he wants to do is to still keep himself in the firing line, being able to try and get past Matt Richards for the victory.
Right. I'll explain. That is actually an older message from Race Control that I've only just seen just now, so that explains why Sino, it must have been when he was in the leads, and he's given that place back to Matt Richards, because I've just been told from Race Control that he has already given the place back, and that's how Richards got the lead. So thank you very much to Anthony Jordan in Race Control for clearing that one up. And sorry for giving you a heart attack there, Alex.
I don't mind. You're the one that normally has the defibrillator on standby, my friend.
That's just because of my varied Scottish diet, honest. Matt Richards sideways in the McLaren there. How he held on to that. That was incredible. He just drifted round both of those corners with the back end absolutely hung out on that car.
Yeah, and now Vaya senses a little bit of blood in the water. 1 minute and 30 until the pit stop window opens here in Dubai. And Sino Vaya now looking to try and do his utmost. He's going to go towards the inside now because he's gone to the outside of the track. Take the tighter line, get the cut back if he can on Richards, which is what he is doing at the moment. But Richards very, very quick to respond to that. But Vaya not giving up without a fight.
I wonder if Richards is starting to cook his tyres a little bit, if he's starting to blister them, because the rear wheels seem to spin up something awful in that car, and the Aston just has the measure of him. It just looks so much cooler, calmer, and collected, and that's going to be an easy take for the lead for Sino Vaya.
Yep, he got up the inside of Matt Richards through turn number 14. As now we have 30 seconds to go until the pit stop window opens.
Wow, Alex, how's your heart rate and blood pressure right now? Because mine's is through the roof.
Well, I'll make sure that you keep on doing that for the remainder of the race then. As we go into turn 1, Richards to the outside of Vaya there. How have you made that possible? He makes the move stick by the inside of... Yep, David's heart rate has hit the roof, ladies and gentlemen.
How did that just happen? I mean, literally right round the outside, Matt Richards. I've never seen the likes of that in my life.
And I've never heard the octaves in your voice go so high in all my life.
Yeah, that's when you know I'm really getting excited. What I'd like to also point out is, have a look at Joonas Raivio. He's now within a second of this battle. Oh, there's contact!
The leaders clash. The leaders clash. Raivio, that was Vaya going to the inside left of Richards and nearly spat Richards out there. And that has allowed Joonas Raivio to now take second position. I think that Vaya went a bit too deep on the brakes going through into turn number 14. But Richards kept that on the asphalt as a result of it.
Wow. Well, who needs Chris Butcher in the race when you've got this all kicking off? To be fair, the door was open. At least from that angle, I think the door was open. He tends to take a later line in. from what I can see, I think that's a racing incident. I think the pair of them are very lucky to get away with that.
Yeah, I think they're very lucky to get away with that, but Raivio, I think, is the one that's profited the most out of anybody as a result of that, because we saw the pure speed from the 33 last time out at Fuji Speedway, and effectively, you know, I think that Richards is up against it here. He knows now that he's got two Aston Martins of two very credible individuals chasing him down. And let's not forget that Matt Richards is not a slouch by any means, but Raivio and Via, I think, will start working together. You'll see a strategy come into play, I think, when we make the pit stops, as who will get the undercut on who will be the one that will be fueling the least if they're having the longer pit stop. So there's so much of that to really take into that sort of dynamic.
The other dynamic that completely changes, Alex, is the GT3 Teams Championship. That now means that the Marloe Watch Company Racing move up into second place because, of course, with no Chris Butcher there, IMB Vod will get nil points tonight.
Yeah, very, very true indeed. Very true indeed. As now, the gap between first to third is just over 1.1 seconds. 7 minutes and 30 seconds until we hit the halfway stage of the pit stop window. Not seen anyone pit yet, so it looks like they're going the long haul as Raivio darting all over the back bumper of Matt Richards heading into the corner. As it gets a bit closer up onto braking, as does Ciro Via. But we've also got just over 7 minutes until the DAF driver of the day voting starts. You can email us at eteambrit@teambrit.co.uk from when we hit 30 minutes on the clock remaining up until 5 minutes before the end of the race. And when it comes to a casting vote, myself and David will make the casting vote dependent on how many votes we do get throughout the course of those 25 minutes. A little bit of a run wide there through turn 14 by Joonas Raivio, which allows Ciro Via to claw back. And, right, Via's just gone into the pits. So that's the first move from Marloe Watch Company Racing there, David. So Via now goes into the pits. We'll have to serve a mandatory of a 30-second pit stop.
That's a clever move, I think, from Ciro Via there to get in and leave his teammate, his wingman, Raivio, to pressure Richards potentially into a mistake and push those tyres even more than he is doing at the moment. Race control, and Anthony Jordan just confirming no further action for Ciro or Matt for that contact earlier. Just confirming what we were talking about earlier. I think it was a racing incident and both of them lost out equally.
Yeah, Max Spooner now heads into the pits. And he's so Ciro Via now in the now coming out of the pits after 55.9 seconds, 30.2 seconds by the pits for Via. Max Spooner now, as here goes Raivio up the inside of Richards and takes the lead very, very quickly there, but Richards quickly on the counter-offensive. So,
I just have such a bad feeling about this, Alex, knowing how frustrated Richards gets behind other cars and how rash he can be in that red rage. He needs to finish. He needs the points for the championship. That's all he has to think about right now. Just, it doesn't matter. Just take the points and take the championship.
Yeah. So we will see at the and how things actually proceed over the next 34 minutes and 35 seconds. As again now, Raivio now continues the lead by just under 0.4 of a second over Richards. Lewis McGlade now in the pit lane.
And this is really, Alex, where strategy and pre-planning before the race is going to come to the forefront. This is where, if you've done your homework, you've done your race stints and you've done your race runs, you know the different options you've got, and you've planned for the different variables in this race. And I think that's one of the things that we've seen work so well through the Marloe Watch Company, is that they are a very tight-knit team, and they really do work together. Oh my goodness me, Matt Richards with a huge slide coming out of that left-hander there. He really does struggle to get the power down, and I wonder just how cooked his tyres are right now with the halfway point coming up.
Yeah, very true. I think with any particular driver that knows their vehicle and how it's developed over the past few the past few races, it is really just a case of how much you can actually mediate and manage that all the way through. So it just depends on what Raivio's planning, what Richards are planning, and that kind of thing as well, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'm watching is this gap is slowly starting to increase as we see round the outside. My goodness me, Joonas Raivio coming in like a rocket. I think there might be a little bit of contact there from Matt Richards on the back of Ben Hetherington there, and the pair of them into the pits at exactly the same time. So Joonas Raivio and Matt Richards both into pit lane.
Right, so this will mean that effectively that Bradley Brocky's Sandro Ballesteros will end up leading the race in an eTeam BRIT 1-2, pretty much for the first time this season. There is Bradley Brocky's now coming around towards turn number 16. So, yeah, very even Stevens between Richards and Raivio in terms of their pit stop time at the moment. Yeah,
Richards is one stall ahead of Raivio, so it'll be a race to go out as Raivio's got the pit stop done first, so Raivio stays ahead of Matt Richards and has actually increased the gap a little bit by about, I would say it's about 1.5 seconds. So Ciro Vire is your new race leader when it's all done and dusted, because he has got ahead of the both of them.
Yeah, very much the case, as now Bradley Brocky's and Sandro Ballesteros will be chased very quickly indeed, because now they've got to put in... Oh, bit of a run wide there by Bradley Brocky's, so effectively that means that those tyres are quickly falling off the proverbial cliff for the 105. And he's dropping down the gearbox, down into first gear, slowest part on the circuit. And now, I think it's really less than 60 seconds to go until the DAF Driver of the Day award voting will commence. So please make sure it's eTeam BRIT at teambrit.co.uk. And it'll be for 25 minutes, starting from when half an hour is on the clock still to go. As Louis Stewart now also is in the pit lane. He's now been in there stationary for over 23 seconds. But I think
Richard has had a warning, sorry Alex, from race control for track limits on the pit entry as Bradley Brocky's comes into pit lane as well. Yeah, very true. As here comes, so Brocky's in, Ballesteros in. Now, that means that there is Max Spooner, who's the last of the GT3 cars still circulating. As now Ciro Vire takes P2, now takes the lead. As Brocky's has now been stationary for nearly 10 seconds, well over 10 seconds. Ballesteros now starting his pit stop. And so, 25 seconds ago, the DAF Driver of the Day voting officially opened. So please email us at eTeamBrit at teambrit.co.uk right up until the time that we hit 5 minutes remaining on the clock. Let's talk a little bit, Alex, about Ciro Vire and that genius tactic that's given him not only the undercut, but 5 seconds of an advantage over Richards, and it's growing.
That is growing. So just keeping an eye on Brocky's pit stop, 47 seconds for him, 41 for Sandro Ballesteros, which means that Max Spooner now is up into 6th position. Yeah, so that gap is starting to steadily increase. Well, it's decreasing now because Richards is now, well, it was 4.7 at one point, and now it's 5.3. So it's ebbing and flowing, isn't it?
Yeah, through different parts of the circuit, and it's just fascinating to see as we see Ciro Vire going to the outside of Ben Hetherington there. And yeah, Matt Richards, he's got Joonas Raivio to chase, but that presents another problem in itself because he's still got to get past Joonas Raivio to get to Ciro Vire. So like I said, I just hope Matt Richards can push as hard as he wants to, but just remembers at the end of the day that this is all good for him. He just needs to take it nice and easy.
Yeah, he just needs to finish. And to finish first you must finish. And Matt Richards, I think, just needs to just keep it nice and calm and true. So, yeah, I mean, effectively, you know, I'm just looking at the way things are at the moment. Let's just have a look at the fastest lap at the moment is from Matt Richards. And, yeah, effectively, he stays where he is. He doesn't need to do anything more. He's taken it. Quite considerably. So yeah, I think it's just about just keeping the car consistent, not having to rush or having to push too hard, because at the end of it all, Vire and Raivio, you know, they're going to help Marloe Watch Company Racing no end in terms of the teams championships. But I think the biggest battle I want to have a look at is our three drivers in the Cinetic BMWs, because look, just up ahead of Raivio is Louis Stewart, who's still in 2nd place. Now I'm just keeping an eye out, and he is the only one to have pitted out of the Cinetic BMW so far. So effectively, when Martin Buchan comes into pit, he will have an opportunity of trying to move forward and try and take his first victory of the season, which will be quite a good one to upset the Martin Buchan apple cart, if you will.
Yeah, and look, he's been doing absolutely fantastically in that little BMW. So he's got a really, really good chance just now. Martin Buchan in some clear air, trying to do the work there. But it's difficult to take your eyes off of what we're watching just now. Matt Richards in 3rd place, right on the back of Joonas Raivio. The two of them actually bringing that gap down by about 0.3 of a second over Ciro Vire. And I think it might be a case of Richards having them on the start-finish straight just now.
Yeah, very, very true indeed, because Richards is getting closer and closer to Joonas Raivio, and but actually loses out a little bit of distance there between turns 1 and into 1 and 2, into the rights at 3 and 4. I mean, Richards isn't. I think if I saw Richards pushing a little bit harder, that car would be nigh on sideways, as we've seen before from him.
Yeah, and it's looking very, very settled and stable, which is what is making me happier, because it means that he's not pushing it that little bit too much. So it's good to see, and he's really putting Raivio under a lot of pressure right now and making Raivio do the work. That gap now, 3.5 seconds to Ciro Vire. And he's just up the road there, so this is going to really, really transform over the next 25 minutes. Yeah,
that's very, very true indeed, and in many respects, I think I think it's just about that now. The pressure is off. It doesn't need for him to go all out, because it's just going to cause him problems. Because then it's got to do all that work again in a week's time, when it's not really necessary. But, you know, when you look at Vire leading now by, 2.6 seconds. Richards is about 7/10 off of Raivio. McGlade rounding out the top 4. So, and plus also, Max Spooner in the pit stop phase has managed to jump Sandro Ballesteros. So there's a potential battle there for 6th place waiting in the wings. 24 minutes and 10 seconds still to go of this race. As Matt Richards gets a bit sideways coming out of the 16th and final corner, while Sandro Ballesteros is about 0.6 of a second behind Max Spooner in 6th place. So yeah, I think at the end of the day we're going to see some great battling, and I think it's going to be at the back end of the field, just like we had last time out at Fuji.
Yeah, it really is. And Fuji was a very special race, and I think this has given us our fair share of drama and intrigue, and certainly a lot for you to edit next week, Alex. So I hope you're looking forward to that one. But it's definitely not over yet, because that gap from Raivio to Sandro in the lead there now, just 2 seconds, and he's slowly bringing Matt Richards with him.
Yeah, that's I think that's very, very true there, because effectively I think that they've just got to sort of keep things going. Sandro Ballesteros just has got to keep on going. We've had a yellow ever so briefly in sector number 1. And well, there's still around about 17 minutes and 50 seconds left to go for the voting for the DAF driver of the day here at Dubai. We have already had a vote in. We're still waiting for some more, so please don't forget to email us at eteambrit@teambrit.co.uk. We've already had 1 vote come in, so I'm just going to give people a little bit of a reminder in the relevant streams, David, I think.
Yep, what a cracking little battle while you do that, Alex, that we've got going on here for 6th and 7th place between Max Spooner in 6th there from Sandro Ballesteros, and Max under all sorts of pressure right now as Ballesteros tries to go around the outside. Incredible move there from the youngster, and he makes it stick against Max Spooner. Max drifts out, tries to take the cutback there, moves to the inside, but I don't think that's going to happen. Is Max going to try and be later on the brakes? He can't, and Sandro Ballesteros moves up into P6. A wonderful, wonderful move there. Cracking stuff from the eTeam BRIT youngster. Back with the leading trio, that gap is now down to 1.6 seconds between Joonas Raivio in 2nd place and Sandro Vire. So that is developing, and that's going to be coming down to a head very, very quickly over the next couple of laps there, as we see we're on board, or rather looking at Joonas Raivio with Matt Richards just in the background there. But Sandro Vire now is really, really under a lot of pressure there. 1.7 seconds ahead. Joonas Raivio getting a warning for track limits. So they're not having it all their own way, but a wonderful, wonderful turn of events for the Marloe Watch Company racing team. Now P1 and P2, and this is by far their best ever result.
Yeah, so far of this season, as we are fast approaching the conclusion of the pit stop window here at Dubai. And I'm just keeping my eyes on how much longer of that window there is left still to run. I don't think there's that much, to be completely fair with you. 30 seconds. But David, have we had anyone not come in for the pit stops, or is everyone pitted?
I think everyone's pitted. I haven't seen anyone that's not pitted. So looking at the order of the cars as well, you know, that if they had been pitted, they would be further up the order. So it looks good from what I'm looking at the moment, Alex.
Okay, pit stop window closing in 3, 2, 1. Pit stop window now officially closed. 20 minutes until the checkered flag here at Dubai.
Alex, would you like a little bit of juicy gossip here?
Go on.
Matt Richards has been given a second track limits warning and has been told one more, and it's a drive-through.
Well. I think the tails might be a little bit more spicier than that, possibly, but who knows? Who knows? Yeah, that's very, very interesting indeed, because that will put him right down to... Excuse me, that will put him down a little bit further down the order. And that will put him right behind, possibly, Max Spooner if he's not careful. Well, yeah, I mean, if it's 60 seconds to go through the pits, and he's currently 2.3 seconds behind Sidorvaya, who's leading, that puts him
I would
down
say,
to
that's Brad's place. I would say
probably about,
Bradley Brock.
yes, that'll put him down into 5th position. So, yeah, so every single driver, I've just had a look on the timing, is that we've had, yeah, we've had another vote in for DAF Driver of the Day. Come in. So, yeah, so we've had 2 come in for DAF Driver of the Day. You've got just over 13 minutes and 10 seconds still to go to cast your votes. Top 3 separated now by just over 2.2 seconds. And, yeah, there is still plenty of this race left to run. But I don't think it's over yet. Like you say, that one more warning becomes the final warning, and then it becomes an instant drive-through. I think that basically shows Matt Richards that he might be the one that's going to get the title, but it depends on him exactly where he finishes here in Dubai.
I think it also just shows how hard he's pushing that car right now, and I'm keeping an eye on Matt Richards on my other screen here, but watching this battle for the lead that's now developing between the 2 Marloe Watch Company cars of Sidorvaya and Joonas Raivio. It's just appeared from nowhere. I mean, that was a 2.5 second. In fact, no, that was a 5-second gap that Vaya had on the undercut from pits. And the 2 of them have just clawed their way back into it. So a wonderful drive from both Joonas Raivio and Matt Richards to close that gap right up. But I wonder, has Sidorvaya got something different? Is he conserving the car? Has he got more fuel in it? He seems to be about half a second to 8 seconds slower than his closest teammate and Matt Richards.
Yeah, it looks really weird that the pace has sort of dropped off at this particular moment in time, and this latter stage of the race. So I think you could be right, because the higher temperatures, you know, when they're going through these corners at a really, really hefty pace, what it really stands to is the testament of the drive, the skill of the driver, the skill of the individual in how to really compensate for the amount of scrubbing, the amount of lateral load that these tyres will be going through. And the models on R-Factor 2 are very, very realistic. And if some drivers push too hard, those tyres will get flat spotted. They'll be stepped as well, so they won't grip the track as they should do. As now, there's Martin Buchan, one hand away, I think, pretty much, as we've had another vote for DAF Driver of the Day this evening. So still another 10 and a half minutes to go until the DAF Driver of the Day voting is concluded. And in that sort of respect, there is still time to vote. Email us at eTeam BRIT at teambrit.co.uk with your vote for DAF Driver of the Day. That person will get a goodie bag from DAF directly. And a real big thank you for them for helping us to recognise those unsung people on the circuit that haven't really been talked about that much, because there's been a lot of toing and throwing up and down the field, normally, which does happen when you have a multi-class championship. But yeah, I think Raivio looks to be just as smooth. We've had another vote come in.
Just a little bit of a wobble there from Joonas Raivio, but you were mentioning there about drivers that we've not really spoken about. Lewis McGlade in 4th place. What a strong performance from him. He had a great 3rd place last time out. 4th place for Lewis McGlade right now. 18 seconds off of that lead pack. But he's in a battle of his own. He's on his own on the track. He's about 50 seconds ahead of Bradley Brockies and Sandro Ballesteros. So a fantastic race for him. and he's just been left to his own devices.
Yeah, as we're fast approaching the last 14 minutes of this race, still to go. Yeah, Lewis McGlade, he's, I mean, effectively, this will net him 58 points. So a third in Adria would have netted him 30 points. Here it would have been 28th for 4th position. And at the moment, the driver with the fastest lap of this race is actually Matt Richards, 1 minute 54.639. Just over 8 minutes to go until the DAF driver of the day voting is concluded. So
Alex,
please
would
feel
you
free
like more gossip?
Is it involving Matt Richards by any chance?
No, it's involving Ciro Vire and Joonas Raivio, who have both got 2 track limit warnings as well. So your leading 3 cars all need to be very, very good boys, or they're going to get a drive-through, which could change the complexity of this race immeasurably. So all 3 drivers now within 1.3 seconds of each other, and this is going to be this needs to be a very calm, polite affair. I don't think we're going to see that.
Well, with just over 12 and a half minutes to go, I think anything's possible. And it doesn't really matter about whether they have 2 track limit warnings. The one that falls over the cliff first and gets pinged by race control is the first one that's going to feel the pain, quite figuratively and literally in terms of grid positioning. So Raivio getting a bit closer to Ciro Vire as the Marloe Watch Company 1-2 still in effect here at Dubai. But Matt Richards about just under 9/10 off these 2. McGlade, Brockies, Ballesteros and Spooner complete the 7 that are still running, with the technical DNF for Daniel Hyde just before the start, and then Chris Butcher retiring before the pit stop window opened. Martin Bucket in the meantime leads Louis Stewart by 18.3 seconds in the Cinetic BMW Series, and Ben Hetherington still rounding out the top 3, with 3 starting, 3 still running after nearly 50 minutes of the lap, the race completed. We've got just 11 minutes and 20 seconds of this race still to go. Just over 6 minutes until the DAF driver of the day voting closes, and look how much closer Richards is now.
Yeah, he's well and truly joined that party with just 11 minutes to go. He's sneaked right up there. And yeah, this is, you just get the feeling, don't you? You get that feeling in the pit of your stomach that this is brewing up into one heck of a fight for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. I think the dogfight's well and truly on. It's 2 Aston Martins versus a McLaren. Oh, it's Battle of the Brits in terms of manufacturers, wouldn't you say, David? This is going to get spicy very, very quickly indeed.
I think we're going to start seeing it spicy at the beginning of this lap. We've got a flash of lights there as we see Louis Stewart away to get another lap put down, and they're side by side down the start finish straight. They're going to come on to Louis Stewart. They're almost touching the teammates. What a move! And there is
there was a little
glance,
a little glance on the back bumper, and that is allowing Matt Richards to possibly have an opportunity. As now Louis Stewart gets out of the way, but both of the pair of the Astons through turns 3 and 4 nearly sideways, as Richards looks a bit more planted now in that McLaren. Oh, that was I think heart in the mouth for both Joonas Raivio and Ciro Vire, who came across Louis Stewart and went, "We don't quite want this to happen," and all of a sudden it did come to fruition. As now again Vire getting very close. Oh, goes sideways. They are pushing and they want to get away from Richards, but Richards is saying, "Right, boys, you want some? I'm going to bring some." And here comes Richards towards the back bumper of Ciro Vire. So we have just under 9.5 minutes of this race remaining. I think Matt Richards wants to finish off things in style, doesn't he?
Yeah, he certainly does. Do you remember that so long ago, that whole 45 seconds ago, when it said it felt like things were brewing? That was only 45 seconds ago, and look at what we've just seen happen here. Matt Richards really wants to get past Ciro Vire here, because Ciro has just dropped like a stone after his pit stop. I wonder if he's put in too much fuel, because the other two cars seem to be much more nimble and much better with their tyres than he is right now. And Matt Richards, surely it's only going to be a matter of time before Matt Richards can get past Ciro Vire.
Well, it doesn't look like that's going to be much longer in the offing here, because with 8 minutes and 30 still on the clock, he's going to get the run coming out of turn 16. Down the main straightaway they go. Raivio leading, Vire in second. Richards in third, closing on the back bumper, the number 3. As he goes towards the inside, Jinx to the left, going towards the outside. Remember the move he did earlier on in this race. He's going to try and keep it planted. Oh my goodness, Matt Richards, if you're going to pull that one off, you are very, very lucky. As Ciro Vire closed off the door there. But, oh my goodness me. 3 minutes to go until the DAF Driver of the Day voting concludes for the penultimate round of the season. So please email us at eteambrit@teambrit.co.uk. You have until 8 minutes past 9 to do so.
This is all fun and games, Alex, but what is Matt doing? He needs to calm it down. He needs to just think of the championship here. He could very easily get into contact with these two Astons and, some sort of issue comes on. Where has Ciro got all that pace from? He's just straight on the back of Joonas Raivio, despite, that's Ben Hetherington getting into the mix as well there. But Joonas Raivio was caught hand over fist there by Ciro Vire, and that's allowed Matt Richards to get back up with the leader as well.
Well, the twists and turns of this tale coming through like new chapters in a book. I cannot believe how quick Matt Richards is able to close up with Ciro Vire. But then, as you say, Ciro Vire having an obscenely offensive amount of braking potential. I think he's the equivalent of Daniel Ricciardo at the moment with the way he's going.
He threw that car in.
Threw it? I think he shot-putted it in. That's what he did. Or maybe he might have javelined that Aston Martin in. I'm not too sure. Might have to ask him. But you can now see that Matt Richards will get a good run coming out of turn 16. Just over 6.5 minutes remaining. 90 seconds to go until the DAF Driver of the Day award is decided. And it is via a public vote. Now they go through into turns 1, into the left at 2, into the double right at 3 and 4. Now Richards looks to be a little bit more planted and a little bit more measured. Goes a bit wider coming through turn 3 and then hits the apex nice and neatly through turn number 4. Does Richards. So he gets the momentum going a bit wider into turn 3 there, David. And 4, it seems where the McLaren really sort of keeps the stride in that double right, doesn't it?
Yeah, Raivio's tyres are starting to go. That's what's going on here. And we've seen the back end to that Aston kick out a couple of times. And that's why Ciro's able to catch up on him as quickly as he does, because he's just not able to put the power down coming out of the corner with just 5.5 minutes left to go in the penultimate race of the season here. And who knows what is going to happen. Matt Richards needs to finish to get this championship going. But he's got Joonas Raivio and Ciro Vire in front of him, duking it out. And Ciro drops back again to allow Matt Richards to catch up to him. So who knows how this is going to pan out. Matt Richards just on the tail of Ciro Vire. He's got a good run and he's going to hang in for the next couple of corners and possibly get the run out of corner number 16. Again, look at how quick that Ciro can catch up to the tail of Joonas Raivio here. And this is an absolute slap with just under 5 minutes left to go. Surely Matt Richards has to be one to try and make the move now.
Yeah, very much the case, David, as now the DAF Driver of the Day vote has now been concluded. There is a no casting vote required this week, so we have a unanimous winner. But look at Richards going towards the inside of Vire, into turn 1, gets up the inside of the Aston Martin. The pair nearly rub panels going through the exit of turn 2. Vire up inside, and then Richards still slotting in behind and takes a tighter run on both apexes through 3 and 4.
Yeah, this is looking so good for the pair of them here. But Joonas now getting a little bit of breathing space, Alex, so he's able to stretch away a little bit, and Sandro is under so much pressure right now from Matt Richards, and yeah, this has been an awesome finale to a fantastic race here.
So at the moment, Joonas Raivio leads by over 0.7 of a second. Matt Richards a further 0.8 behind. That's the top three. But there's still just over 3.5 minutes of this race remaining, David. I can't really get over the fact that there is a potential moment that I fear is coming. And I don't know where. I don't know when. I know that something's going to happen.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've been feeling that same feeling for the past 20 minutes, and it's all on Matt Richards, and that's that's at least why I've got that feeling, is his previous behaviour through the championship, and he can't take no for an answer. He has to force the issue, and I can't help feeling that's going to be his downfall tonight. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the next 3 minutes pass by and he gets second place, and we all walk away from tonight very, very happy. But I just have this horrible feeling.
Yeah, well, as they say, you ain't seen nothing yet. 2 minutes 40 still to go. So effectively, this makes this the penultimate lap, as they've been running in the 1 minute 56s, as again, Via goes defensive on Richards through turn 1, into the left at 2. Richards looking a bit more racy now through turns 3 and 4. It's about a car length behind the Aston Martin. But again, that Aston seems to be planted through those last 5-6 corners. And Richards is just trying to push the limit of adhesion. So we go into the final 2 minutes. What can I say? Not much.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, because I mean, our job is obviously we've got to talk about what's going on, we've got to describe what's happening, and when you get this nail biter of a finish between these top three, at the moment Joonas Raivio now starting to stretch a little bit of a gap, but it's all about these two. It's all about Sandro and Matt Richards and the permutations for the championship. All Matt Richards has to do is hold on, right? If that was me, I'd love to pretend that I'd be backing off and happily celebrating the championship. We know, every single one of us that's been behind a wheel, whether it's a sim wheel or whether behind the wheel of a real car, Alex, we know we would all be doing exactly the same as Matt Richards is doing, and push. As long as you've got a car in front of you, you're not satisfied until you've passed them.
Yeah. It's every driver will want to round things off in the best way possible, because every driver wants to win. Round the final corner comes Joonas Raivio. And now we're going to get one more lap. So 44 seconds on the clock when Raivio crossed the line. As Via goes ultra defensive on Richards, heading down into turn 1. Richards towards the outside of the corner. Remember what he did earlier. He's trying it again. He's forcing the eye of the needle. The pair nearly clash. Oh. Richards doesn't need to give himself a heart attack before the end of the race, I tell you that much, David.
And yet he's doing it. He's putting himself in these positions where he doesn't need to be, and it's the curse of the racing driver. It's you're going to fight, and I bet he's absolutely loving it right now. Maybe not if it doesn't go his way, but look at that. Joonas Raivio has now been able to check out. He's away into the distance here. And I'll be honest with you, I think Sandro might have just wrapped up second place here.
So 0 on the clock. That is it. The penultimate race. 60 minutes worth of action is about to come to its inevitable conclusion. Joonas Raivio just moments away for taking what will be a win for Marloe Watch Company Racing. But then also, look at third position. Matt Richards, I think, now knows he's either got one more chance to get past Sandro or he's not going to get past. End of. But he's still pushing. He's still trying. He nearly goes into the back of him just there as they go through turn 14 for the final time. Going to try and get the cut back as Raivio now gets through into turn 15. Max Spooner just up ahead. Round the final corner comes the 33 of Marloe Watch Company Racing's Joonas Raivio. And this time, it won't be second. He takes the checkered flag and wins. Second goes to Ciro Vaya, but third place with 273 points, taking the inaugural eTeam BRIT GT3 Challenge, is Matt Richards from Zansho Simsport.
What do you say again about that? I'm so glad that Saner Heads prevailed. I'm going to say that they did, but we both know they didn't. And he finally got it. He got the championships by that third place. Fantastic fourth place for Lewis McGlade there. Really, really good drive from him. And then Bradley Brockie's 9 seconds ahead of Sandro, Ballesteros, Max Spooner down in 7th place there. And another fantastic win. And another champion crown tonight as we see Martin Buchan coming round the penultimate corner. And what a championship has been for him, Alex. And yeah, he thoroughly deserves to take the championship tonight.
So, 2 champions crowned on the respective nights, and he's drifting it sideways. Martin Buchan takes the inaugural Cinetic BMW Series crown here at Dubai. And that puts him on effectively 126 points, a clear gap ahead of everybody. But Matt Richards takes the title here at Dubai amidst drama. And look, Martin Buchan's going to bring some donuts to the party. That's one way to celebrate in style. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Martin Buchan knows he's got the title. And he's spinning up those rear wheels like a good one. Well, what can you say? 1 week before the end of the season, and 2 new title winners crowned. Ben Hetherington taking out a few of the bollards on the side of the track whilst trying to celebrate in his own way, but I'm drained.
Yeah, that was an amazing race and a fantastic way to set up the final race. It's now it's all for show, the final race, and I think that actually makes me really excited because there's now nothing to lose for any of the drivers. There's still everything to gain in terms of second, third, and fourth places, both in the drivers' championships, but in the teams' championships as well.
Right. Daft driver of the day. 50% of the votes. Yeah. That's a bit of a bad one from my side. Louis Stewart is your Daft driver of the day with 50% of the votes. Kept Martin Buchan really, really honest. So congratulations to him. But we do have to head down. Now, what I will do is I will now head down into the interview booth because I need to speak to some drivers.
So while he makes his way down into the review booth, and I can see the drivers all filling their way into the broadcast arena. What a penultimate race! And hopefully, very, very shortly, we're going to have Alex Goldschmidt with some drivers.
Yes, indeed. So firstly, I need to speak to our race winner for round 7. Congratulations, Joonas Raivio. Well done.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah, that wasn't really easy race, I must say.
I think it was just as dynamic as Fuji last time out because you were battling Matt all the way through to the checkered flag.
Yeah, and I think I pitted a bit late again, so Sida obviously got a small gap, so I had to work myself to catch him again, just like what happened at Fuji. But this time the gap wasn't actually that big, so yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that big at the end of it, but Joonas, congratulations, well done. Obviously, we've got to send out the DAF driver of the day goodie bag from last time out at Fuji. But congratulations on the win here at Dubai.
Oh yeah, thank you. And also thanks John for letting me drive his car. So that was really fun.
Yes, the Helmut Marko of Marloe Watch Company Racing, who's been listening into everything, I think.
Oh, nice.
Okay, next up, Sidovaya, congratulations. Second place, so Marloe Watch Company Racing 1-2, replacing Ross McGregor this time around. It was very nip and tuck between all three of you throughout the whole of the 60-minute encounter.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was very tight. I tried to go for the undercut, but I think it was a bit too severe.
Mm-hmm.
So, Joonas caught me in the end. Yeah, not much I could do.
But then also Matt started to catch you in the latter stages of the race. He was cornering on rails going through turns 3 and 4 on both apexes. And did you think at some point that maybe second place might have been at risk?
I was worried for turn 1 every lap, but apart from that, I think I had him covered.
Oh, well done, Sido. Congratulations on second. But despite it being a third place, we have to officially announce this. Congratulations to the eTeam BRIT GT3 Challenge Champion from Zansho Simsport, Matt Richards. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
That was the biggest sigh of relief I've heard from a Welshman in a long, long time.
Yeah, that was fun. 2 seconds, I think it was, from a team's championship, but I think we'll have to wait for that one. But yeah, over the moon at the moment. Thoroughly enjoyed the race with the Marloe guys. I know these two guys anyway, so I knew it was going to be a good bit of fun. And yeah, just happy to get it across the line.
Good stuff. And obviously, the move of the evening around the outside of turn 1. How did you have the stones to pull that one off?
To be honest, I thought I was going off track.
Let's be completely honest. You, Joonas, and Sido all got 2 track warnings from race director. So you were that close to getting a drive through.
I think that just shows how much all three of us were pushing towards the latter stages of the race, and I think it just shows that we were really just pushing to fight with each other. And yeah, the turn 1 move, I managed to get the car stopped a little bit better than I was on previous laps, and just a bit of clean racing, fair space between me and Sido, I think it was, and just happened.
Well done, mate. Congratulations, and we'll see you next week at the season finale in Montreal.
Thank you very much.
Right, okay. David Christie, are you down here in the interview booth?
I certainly am, my friend.
Well, I'm now going to hand it over to you, because you have 3 Cinetic BMW Series drivers to interview before we close things up with Team Taxico's Max Spooner very shortly.
Thank you very, very much. Right, well, I will get all of the drive. Oh, excellent. I love this. All the service. Right, a very good evening to the Cinetic BMW drivers. Congratulations. First of all, I have to go to Martin Buchan. Martin, how does it feel being a champion?
Feels pretty good, Dave, I've got to be honest. Yeah, I mean, where's the car keys? That's what I'm asking.
Oh, they will be on their way post haste, my good man. I've got to say, bonus points for the dramatic way in which you finished that race. I don't think the BMW could have handled your mad Tokyo Drift skills, but obviously tonight you were really held close by Louis there, and we watched through the first 15 minutes, and that was just craziness.
Yeah, that'll teach me to actually look at when the guy actually starts the race, because I wasn't paying attention. Everyone passed me, and I was like, oh, we started now. And yeah, I had to catch up to Louis, and we were having a good race. I mean, a little bit of panel rubbing, but that's nothing much. And Yeah, it was just a shame when I passed him. I think he had a bit of a computer lag or something. It dropped him a bit back, and then I just had to keep reeling the laps off.
That was you hitting the turbo button. That's what that was. But yeah, joking aside, I mean, the two of you were door handle to door handle for several laps, and you know you've kind of missed out on that through the last couple of races. It must be nice to have a bit of a challenge again.
It really was. I mean, I think it's different though, because with Christian, it was kind of we were both on the limit. We're both right on the limit, but I'm not saying I wasn't with Louis. I caught him quick, but then it was like, well, I didn't want to hit him. Like I don't want to hit Christian when I've been racing him. It's just got to try and figure it out where I can pass. And this place is just evil to pass on. Nowhere to pass really. I just can't stand the place. Thank God it's over.
Very, very honest, Martin. Congratulations on the championship. Congratulations on another win. Are you going to be going for the perfect season to take another race win next time?
What do you think I'm going to do? Of course I'm going for 8, mate. Got to.
Excellent. Well done. Congratulations. And enjoy your champagne or Prosecco tonight.
Let's have that now. Cheers, Dave. Have a good weekend, guys.
Cheers, buddy. Louis Stewart, who was not only second place, not only keeping Martin Buchan very, very honest, but was also our daft driver of the day. Louis, that was an epic race.
Oh, it was. When I went around the outside with about 4 GT cars, I was laughing. I just couldn't believe it. And the battle with Martin was brilliant. I mean, I knew I wouldn't keep him behind him forever. I knew it was second place for me. But that just made me want to, throw a few more down the inside.
So here's a bit of a different question for you, Louis, because having watched you over the season so far, you've changed quite dramatically in these last 3-4 races, and not only the way that you were fighting with Martin, but the defensive strategies, and you were thinking at least 2-3 corners ahead. How have you developed through this championship?
Well, I've obviously got more confident with the car. That's for sure. I mean, I was drifting through a lot of the corners. Obviously, it resulted in a spin at one point, which put me on the back foot for the rest of the race. But to be honest, it's just confidence and having the confidence to kind of battle with Martin. I knew I wouldn't keep him behind, but I just wanted to enjoy having him to my side for as long as possible, really.
It's a good sight having him in your rearview mirror. I can absolutely understand that one. But congratulations on another brilliant performance tonight. Enjoy the daft driver of the day, and we will see you next time out at Montreal, Louis.
I'll try and make it 7 out of 8 for Martin. I'll do my best.
Just take him out in turn 1, buddy. It's all good. It's all good. Enjoy your weekends. And last but by no means least is our brand new person jumping up to 3rd in the championship with another strong performance tonight. Good evening, Ben Hetherington.
Hello.
How was that race, buddy? How did you enjoy that one?
Yeah, it was good fun actually. Considering I don't really like the track, it turned out a better race than I was expecting.
And you're obviously having the extra difficulty of having to use hand controls, and that is a very, very fast-flowing circuit. Was that a little bit more difficult for you tonight?
Yeah, it was a lot more challenging than the recent tracks, but I try my best, and I think this is the first race I didn't get lapped by every other driver.
Yeah, a really good performance tonight, and it's been a really strong season through the past 5 races for you now. That moves you up to 3rd place in the championship. When you started off back at round 1, did you ever think that was on the cards?
No, to be honest, I thought I'd be at the bottom of the table the whole way through the championship, since it's the first one I've ever entered.
Excellent stuff. Well, Ben, it's been fantastic to watch you through the season, and really, really looking forward to seeing you at Montreal, buddy. Hope you have a fantastic weekend, and we will see you next time.
Goodbye.
So, Alex, that is the Cinetic BMWs, which means one man to have a chat to that remains. Which is none other than Team Texaco's very own Max Spinner.
How we doing?
Not too bad, Max. How are you keeping?
Yeah, very well, very well. I think congratulations is in order to Martin and Matt. I think they've both driven it absolutely fantastic this season. Boys, enjoy your day in your respective racing academy days. You're going to have so much fun in those cars. And now I come to think of it, that they've particularly Matt, he's won 3 bottles of gin, a tool chest, a racing academy day. I was going to say, I think Matt's done very, very well this year. And yeah, it's I can't wait for season 2 now. We're really going to be up in the ante for season 2, and hopefully Matt will be back for us, and of course Martin will be having to make the jump up to GT3 for next season.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens for season 2. I think there's quite some exciting developments in the pipeline from what I'm hearing, Mr. Spooner. But of course, we've got one more race together.
Yep, another race to go. It's going to be a tough one for us because me, Sandro, and Bradley, as soon as we're done in the race here, are going to be jumping straight out into qualifying for the GTR 24 Hours race at Suzuka. So that's going to be, and then the following day we'll be commencing our debut in that championship, and then we're also going to be revealing a new car for that in the fullness of time. So yeah, that's going to be a very intense week of racing for us. So interested to see what comes of Canada, because of course we had that false start. But yeah, a lot of eyes on us next weekend, I think.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in Montreal. And it should be a good one. But Max, looking forward to ending the season on a high?
Hopefully, yeah. I think, it's his 3rd top 10 position now. So I think clawed back some lost ground at the start of the season. And really just aiming to see out the season strong now, and hopefully put in a good result for Team Texaco.
Well, we'll see you next week. Have a good weekend, Max. Thank you very much as always.
Cheers, guys.
So that really rounds it up. I think I'm lost for words after everything that's happened today, David. So I think that's it from us, isn't it?
It certainly is, buddy. What a way to round up and set up the final race of the season. It is going to be an absolute barnstormer.
Indeed. Join us in 7 days, the conclusion of the season, the eTeam BRIT GT3 Challenge, and the Cinetic BMW Series, where it all will kick off. That's guaranteed in Canada next week. Thanks for watching, and stay safe.